everyone, let's get going. This is a picture of all of the fish that are able to be caught or found in this area where I took my students for a plein air session. But I'd just like to show you how a lovely, easy way to do this in watercolour. And it's a fun thing to do either on your own or with your children or grandchildren, because it's easy and there's really no rules and there's no epic fails. Well, there's no fails at all, it's just fun. Let's draw them first. I'm not going to be too worried about the shapes, and let's get started. I'm just using a blue-grey number 68 of my Derwent watercolour. So I'm just going to mix and match. I'm going to pick a few. So now comes the fun part, the colouring. I've got Dale Rowney, I've got some blues, and I do have a few greens. I'm just going to use a little bit of everything. This is the fun thing about doing something like this. There's no rules. I'm going to do wet on wet because I like that technique. So just colouring in with water. I might not do the whole fish actually. I might start doing some different colours in different areas. The main thing is to be bold. And remember the rule, if the colour's not moving on its own, you do not have enough water on the paper. I've got a hair in there somewhere. It's just a matter of picking some colours, and like I wouldn't keep going on that, I'll leave that to dry. So I'll just add a little bit more in here on his little tummy area, and I'll leave that to dry. Another one. You don't have to think about anything realistic. It's just a matter of playing with colour and having lots of fun. So I'm going to go over this with pen as well. So that means that I don't need to colour too heavily if I don't want to. You could use watercolour pencil for this. It could go very well as well with the pen. I have had some of these out without lids on, so there's a little bit of dust and gunk in them. Just something to remember if you've got your paints out all the time. Either take the time to put the lids back on or cover them over. You see things a little bit drier, you can go back in and add bits, re-wet areas, link them together. When you want to control the area, remember it's wet on dry. I needed that to stay like a thin line, so I really made sure that it wasn't going to travel anywhere I didn't want it to travel. So the more specific you want to be with watercolour, the drier the paper. This guy looks like he could get away with all red. Angry fish. Again, I want a little bit of order here as to where the colour goes. So I'm not wetting the paper first. Okay, so just a few things to note. I've left little white areas in almost all of them. I've missed this one, but that's okay. If you want to leave white, you can. Otherwise, remember, you can always depict the eye with your whatever you're drawing over, whether it be watercolour pencil or a black marker. Or you can paint back in with white gouache or white acrylic. You can add any type of gel pen over the top of these. So a lot of the pens that I tend to use are gel, and that means it's pigmented ink. Signo is a good brand. I've got many varieties. It's up to you. You don't have to use black. So, you know, for instance, if you want something subtle, you could use shiny and make it just really subtle. That's just about dry now. But what I wanted to show you is, I should have done this earlier. This is not dry yet, but just a little mock-up so that I'm not adding my effects directly onto here and then deciding, well, no, I don't like that. So a page like this would allow me some practice to see what marks I like, what marks are going to work best, what pens I like more than others. And that would help me decide if I wanted to use just a black pen or coloured pens. So with my pens, I think I've talked to you before about the Artline pen that I like to use. I recently bought just from Kmart some pigment liners from Anko. There are various number of sizes. It's a 10-pack. So I like to use pen line. I'll use a 4.4, and I will use a pen purely because I always think I'm too neat. Not so much in this case, but it kind of helps me be loose because I like to do really loose and free pen work. And if you're going to put some funny designs on, again, I'm practicing here to see whether I like what I'm doing or not. Then, you know, this is the place to be doing it. So yeah, I'm using a 0.4, which is not, it's like a light to mid thickness. I'm going to do all the eyes at once. Then that'll have some unity. Okay. Luigi from Sardinia. Beatrice. Late for underwater Zumba class because she had to get a fin just right. But she looks lovely. Oh, I've put orange on my... So see here where I've put orange on my hand. This is the thing about watercolour paper. The good paper, you should be able to lift a lot of that colour off. But you can get very heavily staining pigments with paints, and sometimes it's just near impossible. As soon as the paint's dried, it's staining the paper. So just be aware, if you're really trying and it's just not coming off, you may have some, like Daniel Smith or really heavily pigmented paints that actually stain the paper. So the best bet is to paint over that with white gouache. Who are you? Gerald? Gerald. Ballad? Wendy. Wendy likes cafe lattes and rainy swims in the ocean. Who are you? Nicolo. Nicolo. He's a bit of a cad. He's a cadfish, not a cod. He, what do you do? He paints. He's a very dark and sombre fellow, which does attract a lot of the ladies. Okay, so there we have it. That's just my base, and now I think I'll take a photo of that. Now at this stage that may be enough for you. That's fine, that's all you're looking for, and you're happy with that, or you can add some dots with your black pen, etc. But I quite like I guess the busyness of these little reactive lines of colour, green against the pink, and this spotty effect. So I'm going to play around now a little bit with some pen. That's it. Thanks for watching everyone, and I really hope you give this one a go. Have some fun and let's be creative. Bye.